Vicki Weaver. Good morning. I'm Vicki Weaver, Director of Public Safety at Rider University in New Jersey, and board member for the International Association of Campus Law Enforcement Administrators. This is the professional association for those of us who help ensure the safety and open nature of our colleges and universities. The association name is lengthy, and we call it IAPLEA for short. Before I talk about what a National Center for Campus Public Safety would mean for students, staff, and visitors at our country's post-secondary institutions, I would like to take note that this is Campus Safety Awareness Month, and the time most associated with students returning to school. Thank you to Congressman Scott and Congressman Cummings for showing your support for our efforts to help protect all of those on campuses and at school. It is not just the images of rare but lethal incidents at colleges and universities that we remember this month. This is the time of year when our nation's school children return to their classes. It is a fitting time to remember good students like Deshaun Brown, a high school junior from Baltimore who was killed last spring, the second high school student killed in that city this year. We need to remember Darian Albert, a high school sophomore who was beaten to death riding a school bus home in Chicago. Darian is one of more than 20 high school-aged young people killed each and every year in that city. We need to take note of more than 4,000 annual assaults reported by the Virginia State Police in elementary and secondary schools across the state. It is not that schools are more dangerous than our nation at large, quite the contrary. It is that the image of those who are most vulnerable, their bright and shining faces, diminishes our vision of the future when they are victims of violence. And so too, when the victims are students at our institutions of higher education. A national center would conduct research on issues of campus public safety and develop training protocols on how best to address threats to people and places. There are 17 million post-secondary students in the United States and millions more staff, faculty, and campus visitors. Our community is larger than New York City or Los Angeles. Our campuses house critical research programs, nuclear reactors, concert venues, nuclear medical waste from university-affiliated hospitals, stadiums for widely attended sporting events, and even presidential debates. This makes the mandate for campus officers to ensure both safety and security, both diverse and extremely complex. With the National Center, our more than 2,500 traditional colleges and universities would have the benefit of knowledge, guidance, and best practices from across the country to address the many challenges of protecting students, staff, and critical infrastructure on campuses. Much like the National Fire Academy and federal and state police training resources, the center would be the laboratory for developing best practices for campus public safety agencies that they may have to deal with emergencies, ranging from the evacuations in New Orleans before Hurricane Katrina to the campus shootings at Northern Illinois University. Can you imagine if every fire department in this nation had to develop their own protocols to identify accelerants to determine if fires were intentionally set? Without federal resources, how could our city police forces meet their daily challenges and develop cutting-edge officer corps training for events as complicated as 9/11? Right now, we have a situation on campuses with no federal models from which we can learn, often with different schools taking different approaches to the challenges we all share, and all starting from scratch. We have managed well under difficult circumstances, but Congress and the administration both recognize that we all can do more. With a center, we would have access to model programs to deal with the growing number of students with mental health issues, such as the young man from Tucson who killed 6 and wounded many more, including Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. We would have a central place to go for information and training instead of more than 2,500 separate campus-based agencies developing their own practices, and informally sharing these plans with each other. Associations like IACLEA play an important role in training and information sharing, but a federal center would have the resources to expand the knowledge base and training to reach all of us in the field. The idea first emerged 7 years ago when the Department of Justice funded a study on what a national center would look like and how it would operate. The House of Representatives unanimously passed authorizing legislation to create the center, which was sponsored by Congressman Scott in the past 2 Congresses. The Senate Judiciary Committee approved the center in a bipartisan vote 3 years ago, but it was too late in the session to come to a full Senate vote. We have been waiting for the center and believe now is the right time to finally make a national commitment to campus safety. Why now? A good idea should not have to wait. We recognize that this is an era of budget cutting. The proposed center has an authorization level of $2.75 million, or 16 cents a student. Compare this to the Department of Justice investments in local law enforcement over the last decade, which has averaged a little over $3 per capita per year. We think 16 cents a student is a modest sum to invest in enhanced safety and security. Among the funding resources or sources that might be available are research and training monies appropriated to agencies within the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security. The austere House proposed fiscal year 12 justice budget includes more than $182 million in the category called Research, Evaluation, and Statistics. A national center would be 1.5% of that amount. Targeted funds from the Department of Homeland Security allotted to the center would bring that percent down even further. For a nation looking ahead to a stronger economy and a more secure world, higher education is a key component to reach these goals. IACLEA's goal is to ensure that the people, the critical research, and the campus infrastructure that will make this future possible are safe. I can guarantee that IACLEA and its members will continue doing our jobs and refining our responses to meet ever more complex challenges we see on campus. I thank Congressman Scott and Congressman Cummings and others who have co-sponsored this bill for the help that they offer us. It is needed and welcome. Thank you.